Addressing the gathering at the opening of the courts complex in Valimada today, President Ranil Wickremesinghe drew attention to the contrasting approaches of the international community when it comes to addressing human rights concerns in Sri Lanka and Gaza.
When Hamas attacked Israel on 7th of October, the government of Sri Lanka condemned it. I said, though Sri Lanka stands by the principle of Palestine in statehood, we cannot condone this act. We can't condone terrorism. And it also left the government with the right of retaliation within the laws and rules available in the international community. But that, in my view, does not in any way justify the killings of over 10,000 people in the Gaza Strip. This is not figures that I have, these are figures that are being quoted by the UN agents. Now this raises another issue. Are you entitled to have declare war to one area of your own country? Can you go to war against? Now, we have gone through this question. And can countries condone it? Because when we brought a motion for the ceasefire, many of our countries, all of us voted for it. USA opposed it and some other countries also opposed it. Now this is the question. Why is it that they are acting in this manner? Because last year in October at the Human Rights Council, they all got together and passed a resolution against it. The country that moved it was Canada, who also at this time moved the amendment to the ceasefire resolution. Canada has become now the henchman for moving these resolutions. Now the resolution has been moved against and passed by it. And we all have to follow it. So I only want to point out, now what is this difference? We have been asked in this, underscoring the importance of addressing the underlying governance factors and root causes that have contributed to that crisis, including deepening militarization, lack of accountability in governments and impunity of human rights violation, abolition and abusers. Now if this is good for Sri Lanka, it must also apply to Palestine. After all, what is taking place in West Bank and the removal of the bringing in of settlers is a big issue. Then why is it that one rule applies to us and another rule applies to them? This is the question I have. And reaffirming also that all measures taken to combat terrorism must comply fully with states' obligations under international law, in particular international human rights law, and as applicable international refugee law and international human rights law. So what applies to us must also apply in the Gaza. What US has told us to do, they must also ensure is being enforced in the Gaza. Now we are having two different systems. Then express concerns at the human rights impact of the economic crisis, including as a result of increased food insecurity, severe shortages in fuel, shortage in essential medicine, and reductions in household income. That's what they said of Sri Lanka last year. It is much worse in Gaza today. And stress the importance of the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, the grievances and demands of the Tamil and Muslim population. So what you are being asked here in Gaza is to address the concerns of the Muslim population. Sri Lankan government must address it. Why is there another rule? To take measures to address the marginalization and discrimination against persons from the Muslim community. Well, the Arab Palestinians are Muslims and they have all been marginalized in their own place. So I ask them, why is it that the US applies this to us but not in Gaza? They in fact tell us that there is no need for a ceasefire, only what is called a humanitarian pause. Now this is the issue we are faced with. Now my problem is, okay, let's say the UN is handling the Gaza issue. When we go next year to the UN Human Rights Council, we will be judged by this. There is one law for us, one standard for the others.